Hi. So today we are going to see the first class of thought dimensions. So it is going to be a management and leadership coaching platform wherein we cover all the topics of management and leadership, starting from the basics of management. What is management? What are the functions of management? And what are the different roles of management? What are different classifications of management? And how do we manage? And then we'll also see the lessons about leadership. What is meant by leadership? What are the types of leadership? And how do we lead and manage different teams? So we'll take the sessions gradually, one after the other. So today is the first class of thought dimensions, wherein I am going to cover the topics of basics of management, and gradually we'll also talk about how do you manage in a unique way. So first we'll see what is management all about, and what are the principles of management that we are following now, what are the functions of management that we have now, how are we implementing and using these principles of management in our daily lives and in our offices and corporates. And then we'll look at how do we manage in a unique way, how do we implement unique thought process in managing differently, both in the personal space within your friends and family and also in your offices. So one after the other we'll be seeing those details, taking those classes wherein I'll be explaining about all those concepts. So today, what are the concepts that we are going to cover in thought dimensions? The topics are what is management, and what are the functions of management, and what are different management styles, and what are the different aspects of management, and what is the purpose of management. When you say different management styles, we will be covering traditional management, team management and service management. And different aspects of management, we have people management, process management, and we will see what are the different functions that are covered in management by Henry Fayol and O'Donnell. And also different management styles. There are 10 different classifications of management that we are implementing without our knowledge and intervention. So we're not sure that we are following these management principles in our offices, but yes, we are following these. So we'll see these classifications of management one after the other. So starting with the basics of management. So what is management? So management's primary function is to get people to work together for accomplishing a goal within the defined timelines, involving the time, cost and resource estimates, if it is specific for the project or specific for the organization. So the main goal of management is to get things done within the given timelines based on the defined objectives. So that is the main function, primary function of management. While there is a difference between management and leadership. Management is about getting things done, while leadership is about exemplifying ways of getting things done. If you observe it very keenly, there is a drastic difference that we have to observe when it comes to management and leadership. Many of us have this belief that management and leadership both are same, or both are more or less similar with the different terms, but that is not correct. While management is a part of leadership, leadership is interrelated to management, but both have their own bifurcations and divisions and ways to implement and execute in our organizations. So management is about accomplishing things within the given timelines with the specified set of time, cost, budget and manpower, the resources available within the given timelines, getting things done. So management, one of the definitions is it is defined as a social process involving responsibility for economical and effective planning and regulation of operation of an enterprise in the fulfillment of the given purpose. It's basically a dynamic process consisting of various elements and activities. So the first definition of management or the principles of management have been defined by an American political theorist and a scientist, Henry Fayol. So Henry Fayol was one of the first theorists to define the functions of management in 1916, and he also authored a book on administration, industrial and general. That is general administration for industries, general administration and management for industries. So Henry Fayol is the person who identified 5 functions of management, which is planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating and controlling. And there is another person who's called Luther Gulick. He's also an American political scientist who have defined the principles of management, or who has contributed towards defining the definition and principles of management, along with the other theorists like Henry Fayol, Harold Kuhns and O'Donnell. So Harold Kuhns is also an American organizational theorist, and he's also a professor at the University of California for teaching. He teaches business management and administration at Los Angeles, and is also a consultant for many of the America's largest business organizations. So he co-authored a book on the principles of management along with O'Donnell. So these are also the principles that we are following today, along with Henry Fayol's functions and principles of management. So Henry Fayol defines management as to manage is to forecast and to plan, to organize, to command and to control. Whereas Luther Gulick has given a keyword called POS de Corby, which says P stands for planning, O stands for organizing, S stands for staffing, D stands for directing, C stands for coordination and control, R stands for reporting, and B stands for budgeting. That means these are all the elements that are defined in the management. So it is planning, organizing, staffing, leading and directing, controlling and monitoring, and motivating. So what is planning? So planning is a basic function of management. It deals with chalking out a strategy or a plan or a course of action for getting things done. That means it is a defined strategy or guidelines that are defined in advance for getting things done in the most appropriate way in the defined timelines. And according to Kuhns also has got a definition for management, which says and the elements of management, that is planning. So planning is deciding in advance what to do, when to do and how to do. It bridges the gap between where we are and where we want to be. So that is a definition that is given by Kuntz. So plan is a future course of action, as we have defined. So in our day-to-day life, in our profession, so when we are talking about management, principles of management, functions of management defined by Henry Fayol and Luther Gulick and Kuntz and O'Donnell, so many of us has a misunderstanding that these are only the principles that we need to follow in our professional work environment and have nothing to do in our personal lives. But if you see clearly, what unique thinking talks about is how do you think in a way, in a different way, that you utilize your thinking, you train your mind, the knowledge that you have in a way that is applicable for both professional and personal context. When we say management, management is everywhere. If you observe clearly, we see we have personal management, we have personal finance, and we have project management, project finance. So management, if you take it as a whole in general, is everywhere. So without management, we don't survive. We manage our spouses, we manage our friends, we manage our kids, we manage the people around, and without management is something that we live in every day. And again, I'll quote the examples, real-time case studies of leadership, how leadership is utilized in personal and professional context when I talk about what is leadership and principles of leadership in the further classes. So what are the elements of management or the functions of management defined by Henry Fayol and Kuntz and O'Donnell? Planning, organizing. The elements are planning, organizing, staffing, leading and directing, controlling and monitoring and motivating. So we have seen what is a plan. Plan is a course of action that is predefined to be executed in a way that we achieve the results we want within the given timelines, in a way that we expect the outcome, in a way that we get the result of the actions, or in a way that we get the expected outcome based on our actions. So we plan things in such a way. That is what is called planning, either in the project or at your home. If you want to go on to some shopping, you need to plan. When do you have to wake up? What do you have to wear? What is going to be your attire for that day? Your costume for that day, or your apparel or dress for that day, based on the occasion. If there is any significant event or occasion that is happening, you need to dress, have your attire based on your occasion, based on the locality, based on the tradition, based on the surroundings, and then the place you are visiting. If you are visiting a wedding reception or a function, you need to have a party look. Or if you are going to some friend's place, you can have a casual attire or a semi-western attire. So this is all what is called planning. Though we don't realize this all is a part of planning, but yeah, this is also a part of planning. That means we have the plan in mind that we need to wear this, wake up at this time, get things done, organize everything, have your breakfast, and rush out and go out. So this is the transit time or a commutation time that it is going to take to reach your destination or your friend's place or the place where you want to go, and then do the shopping or whatever it is, the work from this time to this time, and again start from this time, and again visit some other place, and then again return home, and by the time you come home it will be this time. So this is all is what is called planning in your personal life. When it comes to project and your professional life, when you are defining the scope of a project or the knowledge areas or the resources, the elements that need to be considered for execution or operational activities of a project, like scheduling, costing, time-based estimates, cost-based estimates. What is going to be the scope of the project? Are there any additional requirements that to be accepted? Scope creep, and fast tracking, addition of resources into the project based on the given timelines, and extension of the scope, amendments in the contract scope, and things like that. So all this, a good project manager needs to have a track of all this along with the budgeting. How much is it going to cost for having a team size of some 10 to 20 resources based on the scope of the project, based on the tasks that are involved, the phases of the project, and which phase of the project we are taking ahead, whether it is going to be implementation, customization, rollout, upgrade, support. So what is it going to be? So this requires a proper planning of the project so that the project will get completed within the given timelines with the specific set of people within the defined budget allocated to us or given to us or sponsored to us from the client. So this is project planning, this is personal planning. So I have taken the real-time examples of both, but both will form a part of planning. So altogether, what I'm trying to say is planning is a part of our lives, both personal and professional. So that is the first element of management. So management is everywhere. The second element of management is organizing. So organizing is the process of bringing together physical, financial, and human resources and developing productive relationship amongst them for achievement of organizational goals. And Henry Fayol says to organize a business is to provide it with everything useful for its functioning, right? Raw materials, tools, capital, people, etc. That means you need to get together everything in order to start a task or an activity. That is what is called organizing. So organizing at your home, your relatives are visiting your place, so you need to organize things, your articles, your household articles. You have to keep it clean. You have to have some standard and maintenance of your home, and you need to cook something, or you need to organize some party. So this is what is called organizing, getting things done. When you are organizing some event, you call up everybody, you ask them to come to your place, and you schedule for the event, which is organizing. And in the project also you get all the raw materials, infrastructure, systems, space allocation, people, resources, software licensing, and client approvals to go ahead with the things. So this is what is all called organizing, getting things at one place to start an activity. So to organize a business involves determining and providing human and non-human resources to the organizational structure. So organizing a process involves identification of activities. You need to have a list of activities what you are supposed to do, and classification of the grouping of activities based on the priority and criticality. You need to have a classification of the activities that you are required to work on, and assignment of duties, who needs to take which responsibility, and there needs to be a clear division of duties, and delegation of authority and creation of responsibility, and coordinating authority and responsibility in the relationships. So all these are the tasks that you need to take care as part of organizing. Staffing. The main purpose of staffing is to put the right team on the right job. So you need to have, when you're organizing an event, a wedding reception or a function, you cannot do the work as a single individual. You need to have a group of people to help you organize that function or event, and then based on that you allocate the work or the activities that each of those people should do. So that means allocation of tasks or allocation of responsibilities or defining the roles that somebody has to take care of the flowers, somebody has to take care of the decoration, somebody has to take care of the organizing of the lunch or the catering of the lunch, and other people have to take care of welcoming the guests. So these are the division of responsibilities. That means you are staffing each of the people to take care of each of the activities during that event. And at the same, likewise, staffing in the project is somebody is allocated to test the project, somebody is allocated to interact with the client for understanding the requirements. What is the client expecting when he is giving some project and funding the project? He is expecting some requirement to be developed. For example, an application, or he needs a rollout to some other country of the existing application, or upgrade of the existing application with new features and functionalities. So we need to have a clear understanding from the client as to what he is expecting the team to do. And based on that, once the expectation is clear, you need to have the design in place as to how you are going to define it, how you are going to implement it. So what are the different softwares that are involved? What is the kind of architecture that you need to have? What are the different kinds of systems that are involved? What is a front-ending system? What is the back-end system? What is going to be the database where the information or the data is stored? What is the middleware of it? So all this you need to have as an architecture diagram or a design, wherein looking at that you will have clarity about what are the systems that are involved in the design. So once that is clear, then you need to have the implementation in place as to how you're going to develop what the client has asked us, what is the requirement of the client, and how are we going to develop that, how are we going to do that task, what the client wants us to do. So that is part of implementation, and then again you test on that whether whatever you have done is working properly or not, it's meeting the expectations of the client or not. Otherwise it will again going to be a rework. And then again after implementation you take care of supporting the client, ensuring that the implementation approach that you have delivered for the client is meeting his expectations. If not, you are there to help him until it works as he is expected as soon as it is launched. So you support for the project. If it's going to be a live project, you extend your support for maybe 6 months, post go live support which you say, to ensure that application is working fine. Or else otherwise, if it is a continuous process involving the end users coming up with a new set of requirements or new addition of tasks on a daily basis, then that is a maintenance project which you have to handle it until the client expects you to handle it and take it forward for few number of years. So this is what is called staffing. So we've seen planning, organizing, staffing, and then directing. Directing is something which you tell them how to do and what to do. So it is that part of managerial function which tells us, which deals directly with influencing, guiding, supervising, motivating subordinates for the achievement of organizational goals. So direction has the following elements. You need to supervise the work. You need to motivate the people to do the work. You need to have the leadership qualities and proper communication to ensure that the message that you are trying to deliver is reaching to the right set of audience or the right group of people. That means what you are trying to tell them is reaching them as it is, and they are able to exactly understand what your intention is and what you are expecting them to work on. So that is directing the work and supervising the work. And then controlling. So it implies measurement of accomplishment against the standards and correction of deviation, if any, to ensure achievement of organizational goals. So the purpose of controlling is to ensure that people are doing the right work in the right way within the right timelines as expected. And according to Theo Hyman, controlling is the process of checking whether or not proper progress is being made towards the objectives and goals and acting if necessary to correct any deviation. If there is any deviation in the kind of work that is being done, we need to ensure that there is no deviation of the work and the work is done as expected. And Coons and O'Donnell also has a definition that controlling is the measurement and correction of performance activities of subordinates in order to make sure that the enterprise objectives and plans designed to obtain them as being accomplished. So this is another definition that is given by the Coons and O'Donnell on controlling. So again, this is, management is a concept which can be understood in a very professional way and also in a way that even a child can understand in the layman terms as well. So it is up to you what is the criticality or what is the requirement that you have, in which way you need to understand management. It all depends on the context and the situation and the kind of requirement that you have in understanding the concepts of management. You can also talk about management in layman's terms as well. You can also talk about management in a completely professional context. It all depends on your requirement. But end of the day, the definition, meaning and the principles that they are trying to tell us, some of the most reputed political theorists or management theorists, which they are trying to tell us, will remain the same. It only depends on how you are applying your management to which context, whether you are applying it to a professional context or to a personal context. All that matters is it going to be completely professional or is it going to be personal? And again, there is an interconnectivity between the two. So that means this is what makes us think unique. When I talk about unique thinking has something to do with understanding and training your mind to that higher levels of intelligence, where you will be able to correlate things in a proper way, not like just anything. So you should have a proper understanding of the concepts prior to training your mind and improving your levels of consciousness, or in understanding the concepts and thinking in a distinguished way. Not everybody will be able to think on these grounds. So either there are different set of people whom I have come across who don't even understand what is meant by management. They only think that management is only pertaining to the project. It's only applicable to project and nothing related to personal or home. Or somebody will think that it is only about home and nothing to do with the profession. So if you actually see that most of the housewives, they exhibit a lot of management at homes. Even the people in the projects need to learn from them. So that is what is called personal management. But yes, of course, we can't, probably, take the exact scenario in profession, because we have defined processes, principles that the theorists have given about management and all. So our culture, our work culture demands us to be professional at the workplace and not completely personal. But then again, what I'm trying to say is the definition and meaning of the management will remain the same if you understand it clearly. So controlling has got the following steps: establishment of standard performance, measurement of the actual performance, comparison of the actual performance with the standards and finding the deviation if any, and coming up with the corrective actions. So those are the functions of management which Henry Foyle and O'Donnell have defined it. Coming to management styles. So management style is nothing but the classification of management that we have. So we have different kinds of management that we need to follow. Management is defined into different classifications and different styles and mode of execution, which is traditional management, team management and servant management. So what is traditional management? The management that we have been following since long time, since ages. Hierarchy of employees, low-level management, middle-level management, senior management. The manager sets out some expectations for the employees who need to meet the goals, and the manager receives a reward for meeting those goals or setting the expectations for the team. So that is a traditional management. Team management arrangement. The manager is a guiding hand to help the members of the team work together to solve the problems, but doesn't dictate policy, and the entire team receives the reward. So team management is something wherein the manager seeks the help of the team in solving the problems, and the reward is distributed equally among the manager and the contribution from the team members. Servant management. So in the servant management, manager helps supply resources to the employees, whatever the resources that are required to manage as teams, whether human or non-human resources like infrastructure, software licensing, and other approvals, client approvals, and if at all they require any number of any other people, more number in their team to work together. So manager takes care of all this. So he works as a servant to their team while playing the role of a manager, so which is called as servant management. So the organization recognizes employees as experts in their field and work to help them work more efficiently. So servant management is usually exhibited by a manager who leads teams, maybe a group manager or a group project manager, who takes care of a number of teams, wherein each team will have a number of resources, and each project manager will have a team working number of people under him, while he will be reporting to the group project manager. So the group project manager is exhibiting the servant leadership or servant management. So when it comes to management, it is servant management. When it comes to leadership, it is servant leadership. So we'll see about the leadership concepts in the further classes. I'm not covering any of the leadership classes or topics in today's class. So the main objective of managers is to help employees reach company goals and maintain company standards and policies. So as I've already mentioned, management is everywhere. So it is a group of people working together to achieve some goal. Like for example, when we see the Egyptian pyramids, how people have constructed, that is the perfect management that we can see from the people who have designed that construction and with the people who have constructed that. So that means they had specific goals in their mind that they have already accomplished. It's one of the wonders of the world. So that is also a management. So today organizations of all types, social, political and economic, use management techniques to plan and organize their activities. So when it comes to aspects aspects of management. What are the different aspects of management? We have the people management and we have process management. So when people talk about management, they may be referring to different aspects, as I've already mentioned. It all depends on the context, whether it is applicable to your personal life or to your professional life, and also if it is process related or people related. So they may be talking about the people who are like managers, handling strategic positions, responsible for making important decisions for the organization, like executive officers, presidents, general managers, who are handling some responsible roles that are going to affect the functioning of the organization. So this is one of the aspects of management. Management as people, as I've already mentioned, people with the responsibility and authority to determine the overall direction of the organization are often referred to as management of the organization. So management has the authority to decide what are the goals that the management has to follow that need to be achieved. So this can also be taken when you relate this to a personal context. So in the professional context, it is the upper management team or the top level leadership team or the top management team that takes the critical decisions of the project or a group of projects. And if it is leadership, the organization, and based on which the goals of the organization or the project is set, and how do they have to take it further to accomplish those defined objectives. So that is people management. And again, if it comes to personal context, if you are, you can take the example of planning for some vacation, like to get away from home and work, to spend some enjoyable time, so to achieve that goal. So that cannot be achieved just if you think about it. You need to get things done. And you need to schedule your trip. You need to have defined timelines as to when are you going, when are you returning, and what are you going to do there, what places you are going to visit, and everything needs to be organized. So to achieve this goal, they must first have a number of decisions that they need to take, like where are they going and how are they going there, and where they are staying, and what will they do, and how many days they will stay, and how is the trip going to be, what is the budget for the trip, how are they going to organize the activities, and how they have to have that control over their budget, over their time, and number of places, locations, etc. So these decisions cannot be made without considering the resources that they have available for the trip. So if you are going with a group of people, you need to have a group discussion with that with those set of people who are coming for the trip. So perhaps they have saved some money for the trip, or they have to decide to take some small loan for that, or they will have to rent out some vehicle or some car or some bus or something, and what is it going to be the timeline, and whether they need experienced backpackers or they can pack things on their own, and they have all the material resources like money, equipment, and knowledge, experience. You need to have knowledge about the place if you are visiting a new place, and experience about the kind of people, the kind of tradition and culture that is being followed by those people at that particular location, to have a successful vacation. And you need to have a camera in place if you are passionate about photography. So all these things need to be considered before planning the trip. So, but deciding what they are going is not enough. They need to have actually do the things and get ready for the trip. So they may need to make reservations, schedule the time, get the car serviced, or buy a new camera, appropriate